Welcome back to Is It Wrong to Check Up Girls in a Dungeon? Anime Review episode number 34. Yes, this series is back for the first time in about 3 months. Yeah, 3 months. I kind of knew that this was coming back this month. I didn't know what date it was. I was kind of surprised it came out this soon. And, well, now I'm reviewing this, even though I probably should have done this on Saturday. But due to the fact that I ran out of time because of various different things, I could have done this yesterday too. But the reason why I didn't was because basically I was suffering from a headache yesterday. So that was mainly the reason why basically that I did not get a chance to do this yesterday. And you might be curious, Nick, do you like watching the dub for this series? Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I've met Hestia's voice actress. I will, in fact, now in the case of the dub for this season per se, I know that the first half of the season has been dubbed. I have not watched it yet. I am probably going to watch it when the season concludes. Yes. Now, as for this episode, we are discussing the 49th episode of the anime, which is known as Amphisbaena, A Song of Despair, which is the first episode of Cur 2 for the series. Well, for the season anyways. Yes, I was kind of surprised they decided to take a break after episode 11. I thought it was basically 22 straight episodes. This is kind of surprising. Now, to date, this series has never done this before. It is only the second season I've ever fully reviewed since from start to finish. The first season being season 3. I reviewed the first 2 seasons bench watching. And eventually, of course, I did watch it then. Now, the only reason I watch sub because basically I love the show and I just want to keep this on forward. And you're probably thinking, Nick, why don't you watch shows like... Why don't you watch the other shows you watch dub? Why don't you watch the sub for those? My Hero, it was a mistake on my part, and I'm a big fan of the dub for that one, so I just watched the dub. This one, the reason why for this one I watched the sub right away, because it takes a while. It takes a little bit longer than Funimation and Crunchyroll to release their dubs. That's simply the reason for it. But in the case of this episode, this episode does go into, finally, Book 14, the longest book of the whole series, where it covers most of the interlude and like the first half of chapter 7. Now, not the first book to do this, by the way. There have been several books, basically, if it's a continuous story arc, they will have the following book containing the same numbering. Now, mostly we are set in 3 different locations here. I'll talk about the two are brief ones that is shown basically for the actual episode. So they actually splice these in. Now, the episode starts off like it picks up not long after we left off from the last episode, which aired 3 months ago, by the way. We have Belle and Lou on the 27th floor, aka the White Palace. And we hear some, and of course, they're battered and bruised. Belle notes that he is injured. And of course, Lou is actually much more injured than he is. And of course, his bones are shattered. Not all in the person, he probably wants his arm. And thanks to his glider, he's alive. He picks up Lou and, of course, walks with her. And then the scene ends, basically, with their moment of the episode. Ends when I think they're confronted by the Juggernaut. And then we also see Kronos, I believe his name is. The guy who's the chief of the gods. He's talking to Fels. The Lynch they first debuted in the previous season of the show. He's back here. They have a brief scene, and this is pretty much intact from the book. Not really much change here, per se. They just discuss basically that, something's happening with the Hestia Familia. And, well, that's it. It's a brief, small scene. I noticed I mentioned 3. I forgot that was actually a 4th one. There's also a scene we have Hestia going to the beloved mistress, run by Mamma Mia. She is not in the episode, but the barmaids are there. Sire is actually not technically in the scene per se. Hestia is talking to the barmaids and asks for the help to find what happened to her familia that went into the labyrinth. And that's it. And of course, talking about what happened in the previous episode, which I do appreciate the fact they brought that in. But pretty much a good chunk of this episode is focused on the 25th floor, where you have basically Belle's group, where we're basically confronting the boss of that floor, which is a twin-headed dragon. Yes. Who apparently Aisha had fallen once before, but he's a lot more powerful now. And of course, Cassandra is basically just trying to avoid this whole creature. Now, most of this whole episode, when it comes to their scene, their chunk of the episode is from the first half of chapter 7. That's where the whole chunk is come from. The other stuff in the episode, it's all from the interlude, which they kind of splice that in. Now, in the case of Belle's, they have the start of the episode, and they have one other part. I think it's like a little half of the episode. They include a little bit in afterwards, come up with that Juggernaut, and that's it. The Hestia scene, they splice it over there, which, gotta appreciate the fact that the anime did that, which, great on the part. It's good pacing for that particular scene. So you have them basically find the creature. We also see that Hirokura, I think, Hamina, the fox girl, where she powers up Wealth, Himiko, I'm trying to remember their names here. Sorry about this. This is something basically I'm a bit embarrassed with. Okay, so I know it's not about Kaisa. It's basically powering up Daphne, Okada, and Mikoto. Yeah, those along with Wealth were powered up here. Aisha did not get a power up at all. And of course, announced the fact that I was seeing a flashback. Yeah, at the very start of the episode, but she's not in the actual book. No. They probably included her in just because, basically, that she's not in the books. So, I'm sure. Now, I do not know if they can have a scene where we're talking. Excuse me, but if they do, they're probably going to bring back her voice actress. Possibly. Who knows? So, they battle the dragon. Of course, the thing also has, like, one shoots red mist, which apparently is canceling magic, and there's blue mist, which apparently is a lot more powerful mist. And of course, they dodge attacks. And first, you have Aisha front, Wealth just behind her, along with Daphne and Mitoko. And of course, they swap. And of course, they have Mitoko conjure this big spell, which is like a gravity spell, which just crushes the ceiling of this floor right on top of this dragon. And they slice the dragon up. Cassandra basically is still wondering about her premonition that was basically shown in the first half of the season. She thinks it may not come to fruition, or may or may not, who knows. And of course, you actually have, Lily basically doing her job as the support and also kind of the lead of the group. She's a strategist. And of course, she does her job really well. And that's pretty much the episode in a nutshell. And, yeah. It's a good episode. I do appreciate. Now, you might be curious though. Is there anything really changed here? Not really per se, except I think they made the scene with the dragon longer in the anime than was in the actual book. But if you think about it, for a 23-minute episode, they didn't cover very much. Like, if you're curious, they covered roughly about. Like, in this one episode, they covered roughly about this much of the book. Yeah, basically about 50 pages. Mostly anyways, which I think they do a good job with it. Yes. But yeah, that's pretty much all. There's nothing really to say to this episode. It's good. I'm really hoping to review the next episode when it comes on Saturday. Now, I should point out, though, that 2 of the anime I regularly viewed the past 2 months will be wrapping up this particular seasons. And that will be Uzutoma's Hangout and Spy X Family. Those wrapping up, in the case of Spy X Family, that will wrap up this weekend. But in the case of Uzutoma's Hangout, that will wrap up next weekend. Yep. Now, next video, I'm going to go and do it. Next video is going to be Welcome to Demon Score and Recon. Okay, next video. Bye.